So you just built your dream stream PC rocking the Ryzen 9 3950X 16 core beast of a CPU from AMD, and you're wondering, what's the best settings I can use for 1080p 60 FPS streaming? Well, stick around and I'm going to show you my settings that I think look great for Twitch streaming. Now that you have OBS installed, you want to check and make sure that Windows 10 is set up properly for your streaming so that everything goes smooth whenever you're playing online. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click the start button. Then you're going to click on settings. You're going to click on gaming, and then you're going to go to game mode. You want to make sure that game mode is on. After you make sure that game mode is on, the next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and run OBS as admin. Now there's two ways to do this. You can right click on OBS, right click again and run as admin every time you open it, which leaves you open to forget. Or when you're here, you can left click on properties, you can left click on compatibility, and then you can check the box right here, run this program as an administrator so that it does it every time. Once you have this set up, you can click apply. Then you can click OK, and now you're ready to dive into your OBS settings where you can get everything set up for your stream. Once you're done with setting up Windows and OBS so that it'll run smooth for your stream, now you want to go ahead and open OBS. Once you're in OBS, the next thing you want to do is you want to go into your settings. Now, here's my settings for general. As you can see, I pretty much left everything stock. I maybe changed system tray to enable, but that's pretty much about it. There's not really much you should need to do in here unless you want to change your theme, which you can change it, to different colors. You can do dark. You can do, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Ratchety? Is it ratchet though? All right. So I leave mine as system because, well, OBS is my light on my second monitor for my stream. All right, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to go into the stream tab. From here, you're going to set up for whatever service you use. I use Twitch. You can go ahead and put in your username and password. You're going to choose the server that's closest to you. I live in Dallas, Texas. And then you can use the chat add-ons if you want to, or you don't have to. Now, the next part is going to be the output, and this is where the secret settings are. So in output, you're going to choose X264 as your encoder. Rate control is going to be CBR for constant bit rate. You can choose 8000. Now I'm an affiliate. I choose to do this because I think that 8000 looks better than 6000 at 1080p. But just note, there is a caveat to this, that if you're not a partner or not an affiliate, then transcoding it down to a lower bit rate and lower settings for people who may not have 8 megabits to watch your stream. Yeah, as an affiliate, that's not always guaranteed. And as a partner, you pretty much get it all the time. But if you're neither, you don't have that option. So there is a caveat to using this. Just make sure that if you're going to use it, that you're using it for your audience and you're doing it accordingly. If you're wanting to run 720p and run the 6000 bit rate instead, I have another video on that, so go ahead and check it out. And it's for an 8-core Ryzen CPU. It was when I had my 1800X installed, and it should show you all the settings to get really good quality out of 720p 60 FPS. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to set up your keyframe interval for 2. This is what Twitch recommends. You can set your CPU usage preset to slow. That's right, slow. And your profile is going to be main, tune is none, and then you're going to put these custom X264 options in here, which I'll put in the description down below. And you're going to put these in so that it pretty much optimizes the way OBS uses your CPU. So threads are going to be 32 because you have 32 threads on your CPU. Lookahead threads are going to be 32 because, again, you have 32 threads on your 16 core CPU. Your rc-lookahead is going to be 60 Trellis is going to be 1, direct prediction is going to be spatial, and bframes are going to be 2. Now, after you get all this set up, the next thing you want to do is you're going to click on the audio tab. Now, for me, because I only play with headphones on, I run the Mindframe headset as my desktop audio, but you can use whatever source, you know, you're comfortable with. Just know that if you're using speakers and you have your mic, you might get backfeed from your gameplay going into your mic. Everything else is disabled here. My sample rate's 44.1. I left that stock. Channels are stereo because I only use stereo on my headset. And then, as you can see, everything else here is pretty much set to stock. I don't really touch any of that. So now we're going to move on to the next tab, which is video. Under video, you're going to select your base canvas resolution of 1920 by 1080, which also you want to make sure that your monitor is set up for that. I mean, you can downscale to 2560 by 1440 if you want, but just know that's going to put a little extra strain, and you have so much power in the system, you don't really need that. Additionally, in my experience, I found that just using 1920 by 1080 when you're gaming really makes it go smoother, because that's one extra step that none of your hardware has to do. You're going to set your output scaled resolution to 1920 by 1080. You're going to set your downscale filter to bicubic. Now, there is another option here that looks like it's better. Lanxos, I think that's how you pronounce it. And it shows 36 samples instead of 16. But just in my personal opinion and watching, I think bicubic looks better. So that's why I leave it there. And then you can set this as a common FPS if you want. I just did fractional as a test. I've been testing it and playing around with it. But if you want to do what I do, then set it to fractional. Your numerator is going to be 60. Your denominator is going to be 1. You're pretty much setting it to 60 FPS. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to go into your advanced tab. Now, I recommend setting your process priority to high to make sure that OBS really gets all of the resources it needs to encode your stream and send it out to Twitch. Your renderer is going to be Direct3D 11. Color format, MV12. Color space, 709. Color range, partial. You can do full if you want, but I found that on a single PC system that by setting it to full, I get more like render lag or encoding lag, and I just think, I don't know, I think partial even looks better. It's just my personal opinion, but you can set this to full if you want. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to bind your IP to your network card, whatever your IP address is. And then for sources, you're going to enable browser source hardware acceleration. And that's pretty much it. After that, you can go ahead and click apply, and then you can click OK. And now we're going to look at 2 more settings that's going to help you on your game streaming. Now that you're done with your OBS settings, the next thing you want to do is you want to go into your Nvidia control panel. Once you're in the Nvidia control panel, there's some settings you're going to want to change here. You're going to go to change resolution. Again, you're going to want to make sure that you're set at 1920 by 1080. As you can see, my monitor can do 2560 by 1440 native, but I don't set it like that for streaming so that it eliminates one step that the hardware has to do, such as downsampling. The next thing you want to do if you have a high refresh rate monitor is you want to set your refresh rate to 120 Hertz. The reason why you're doing this is this is going to make your stream look smoother. As in, if you've ever been streaming or you're watching someone stream and it kind of looks jittery as they're turning and doing things, that's because their refresh rate is really high and their FPS in the game is really high. 120 is a division of 60, or should I say a multiplication. So 60 times 2 is 120. So if you set it to 120 and you set all of your in-game options to 120, then your gameplay is going to look a lot smoother than if you have your refresh rate at 144 and you don't have any of your FPS settings turned down. Now, some games may not have the option for you to limit your FPS to 120. So if you want to do that, you can do it in the Nvidia control panel. The way you're going to do this, you're going to click on Manage 3D Settings. Now you can do global settings, so you can scroll down and let's see, max frame rate. It's right here. As you can see, I have mine off. I do it in game, but you can turn it on and you can set it to 120 FPS, just like that. And then you can click OK. You can click Apply. It'll take a second. And once you do that, now all of your games are set to 120 FPS. And anytime you're opening anything, of course, you can also go to program settings and you can add your games in here by just clicking the add button, choosing which game you want to add, clicking add selected program, and then you can do this individually for each game. As you can tell in my program settings, I do have for each game some custom settings. I do this based on how I think the game looks. So, and what I think is really best. So that's the only other thing I'll recommend at this point. And if you follow this step, then your game should look a lot smoother in fast action and won't look as jittery or like you don't have VSync or G-Sync on. And that's it. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button down below. I hope you found this content, helpful for you, whether you're a beginner or even someone who's been streaming for a while. Plus, Sir Pounce wants you to hit the like and subscribe button below as well. Anyway, this has been Ask a Nerd TV. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to check out some of my other content, such as the review on the 3950X, and I'll be reviewing some other hardware soon. All right, take it easy.